What you just watched is the most dominant fighter in UFC history. Put on the most dominant and impressive performance in UFC history on one of the best cards of the year, in my opinion, the best card of the year, and one of the best cards we've ever watched. Khamzat Chimaev just embarrassed Dricus du Plessis. He quite literally made him look like a white belt, a rookie, a guy that does not belong in there with him. And Khamzat Chimaev is 100% never going to lose again. I'm going to recap the entire UFC 319 full card right here, and we're going to go over every single fight that has happened. I legitimately cannot believe what I've just went. I'm in shock at what I've watched, and I'm being dead serious. I knew Khamzat Chimaev was going to win. He was my most confident prediction. We'll get to my other most confident predictions on this card, but Khamzat Chimaev looked insane, and there are a lot of things to talk about, and I want to talk about the card from bottom to top. But I'm going to start with the beginning of this because this is important. Khamzat Chimaev is 100% the most dominant fighter in UFC history. He is, in my opinion, a potential probably best fighter in UFC history. In no world are you going to tell me that you think anybody is more dominant than this guy. Honestly, have you ever seen anybody embarrass a champion like that? A guy who, if he beat Khamzat Chimaev, Dricus du Plessis, could have been a top 15 fighter of all time. Could have been arguably the top 2 middleweight of all time over Israel Adesanya. You could have even argued he was a top 2 middleweight of all time right now. 6 wins by finish out of 9 wins in the UFC, 9-0 in the UFC. And Khamzat Chimaev quite literally just made him look like he was nothing in the cage. He embarrassed the best version, in my opinion, of Dricus du Plessis you could have ever had. A 31-year-old prime Dricus du Plessis coming off of 2 title defenses after beating Sean Strickland twice and finishing Israel Adesanya. Come on, man. Come on. I mean, DDP did nothing in that fight. He did nothing. It was 529 strikes. I got to find this picture again because the stat is ridiculous. In the first round, 130 strikes to 7 in the first round. 130 strikes to 7 in total. The entire fight, the strike counts: 529 Chimaev, 45 to DDP. We'll talk about the boring aspect of it, the 12 takedowns Chimaev had, the 22 minutes of control time he had, and why some people think it's boring. If you think it's boring, you have no clue what you're watching in this sport. You have no clue what you just watched. You don't understand the grappling positions you just watched. You don't know who's stalling. You guys probably think Chimaev was stalling in this. You guys are hysterical to think if Khamzat Chimaev was stalling in this fight. Khamzat Chimaev was getting Dricus du Plessis in a crucifix in 3 different freaking rounds. I'm pretty sure 3 rounds. At the bare minimum, 2 of them. This scorecard, by the way, being 50-44, wild. 50-42, 100%. Rounds 1, 3, and 4 were 100% 10-8 rounds. He won every single round. He dominated DDP in this fight. Now, DDP cheated in this fight, was grabbing the cage lows, putting his toes in the cage. Mark Goddard didn't do a single thing about it. If anything, actually, Mark Goddard watched DDP grab the cage, put his toes in the cage. What did Mark Goddard do? Mark Goddard ends up standing them up. Could you imagine that? Mark Goddard stood them up. DDP is on bottom position, by the way, cheating and stalling. And Mark Goddard is standing them up, giving DDP an advantageous position. Or at least getting him out of a disadvantageous position. Then, going on to the 5th round, Khamzat Chimaev reverses the position on DDP. DDP is a guy who is on top. He got on top of Chimaev. DDP reverses it, gets into DDP's full guard. Chimaev reverses it, my bad. Chimaev reverses it on DDP, gets into the top guard. And then Mark Goddard stands him up again. I have never seen as bad of a performance from a referee. I mean, we've been seeing some insane ones. Mark Goddard was embarrassing. He watched DDP cheat and stood him up, got him off of bottom. He then watched DDP get reversed and stood them up again. It was insane. It was embarrassing. It was actually gross for Mark Goddard. He needs to be investigated, and he needs to be, that's embarrassing. You can't have referees be doing stuff like this. There's no enforcing of the rules, and if anything, you're completely going back on it. If you think the fight should have been stood up ever, you're horrible. The guy on bottom is stalling. DDP is stalling in these positions. DDP is getting against the cage, and he's staying against the cage. He's not taking these risks when Chimaev has a body lock, threatening to put a hook in. He's not taking a risk when he's down 2-3 rounds, knowing he's down on points, knowing he needs to finish. He's not taking risks in these positions. And when he gets put in a crucifix, he can't do anything. Chimaev is battering him in this crucifix. DDP is shoving his head into Chimaev's chest, which is a fantastic way to defend yourself in a crucifix because Chimaev can't really put much onto your head. He's also turning the back of his head to Chimaev, where Chimaev's doing his best to not hit DDP in the back of the head. Otherwise, obviously, he'd get out of the position. He can even lose a point there. He can get disqualified. He keeps hitting DDP in the back of the head. Like, DDP did a very good job defending the crucifix every way he could, considering he could not get out of it, by shoving his head into Chimaev's chest. So make sure Chimaev couldn't elbow him. Chimaev couldn't put anything harder in it. I cannot believe there are people watching this sport. There are legitimately people, not even the casual fans. I understand the casual fans. They want to see knockouts. They want to see submissions. They want to see Neanderthal stuff. You know what I mean? DDP was holding on in the half guard. He was holding on in side control. He was doing everything he possibly could to avoid these positions against Chimaev because he did not want to get finished. And of course he didn't want to get finished. But you know what he didn't do? He did not fight to try to explode out of these positions. He did not want to risk his position, to get a worse position, to risk a worse position to get himself in. The only time he did that was at the end of round 5. And he ended up exploding and getting out of position. You watch the most impressive performance you ever watched in your life. You watch the most dominant performance you ever watched in your life. You watch a champion who's been as big of a headache to deal with as anybody has ever been just get embarrassed, and he was holding on for dear life in positions, making sure that Chimaev cannot get the hooks in, making to take the back, making sure that Chimaev doesn't mount him, raising that right knee, which is very good defending, but he's also clasping onto Chimaev when he's inside control, grabbing onto him for dear life. He is not trying to get out of this position. When he does, he was trying to get out of the crucifix. But he does not do a good job. DDP, first of all, even when he did try to explode, it was early on, he did not want to give up that position. Especially, he didn't want to give up his energy because he assumed that Chimaev would have slowed down round 3, round 4, round 5. Guess what? He did not. Chimaev was literally abusing him the entire time. Talk about that Chimaev cardio. Every single person that I saw breaking down this fight for DDP said that DDP is going to take over late and Chimaev's going to gas early. I could not, oh my god, I could not believe what I was watching. You guys need to understand. He fought Kamaru Usman on short notice. As much as Usman was on short notice, Chimaev was also on short notice in this fight. Also, Kamaru Usman, notoriously one of the most difficult guys to grapple ever in MMA history. Look what Chimaev did to him in round 1. Chimaev also broke his hand in that fight. Here's another thing with MMA fans. We all of a sudden are taking injuries as excuses. We're also trying to use it as an excuse, saying that every single fighter comes in with an injury. Get the hell out of here. There's no world where it's the exact same injury, where Jack Del Maddalena has a broken arm against Gilbert Burns, gets taken down 7 times, but defends them better and fights better against Bilal Muhammad. Khamzat Chimaev fights with a broken hand against Kamaru Usman, yet he embarrasses DDP. We got to stop this. We got to start understanding. Shavkat Rakhmonov fights with a torn MCL against Ian Gary. Peter Yan is fighting with a torn ACL against Merab, worst performance of his career. We need to start understanding that major injuries are major injuries. It's as simple as that. Curtis Blades, he literally couldn't move against Cannonier. I mean, we need to start understanding the difference of this stuff. These major injuries affect these fighters. Now, Khamzat Chimaev against Gilbert Burns. You guys need to understand, looking at these performances. Everybody brought that one up. Oh, he went to a firefight with Burns. Chimaev was going against Burns, treating him like it was nothing. It was at 170 pounds. He sprinted early on, as he usually does. But the difference is one, he's at 170. Cardio is not going to be as good. And two, he literally treated Burns like it was nothing. The first time in his career he faced adversity, and he still won the fight. DDP got dominated. DDP was trying to gas Chimaev out in the first 2 rounds after knowing he literally was just going to get taken down and embarrassed after. Clearly, every single time DDP, I don't think Chimaev failed a takedown in the first 2 rounds, first 3 rounds. I can't remember him failing a takedown. I think anytime he failed a takedown, he landed a really good shot on DDP. I think it was round 3. Really good left hand, had a jab, left hand, shot for the single leg right back, tripped him up, got him. Easy. It was this is the best wrestler, best grappler we've seen in MMA history. This is the most dominant fighter we've seen in MMA history. The transitions, the high-level grappling, I've never seen anything like this in my life. And again, if you do not appreciate this, you could care less for grappling. It's as simple as that. You could care less for these things. You do not understand how DDP is stalling a lot of these positions. You don't understand how well DDP is defending a lot of these positions. I don't see anybody beating him. I do not see a single person beating Khamzat Chimaev in this fight. I really don't. How can you see anybody beating him in middleweight? Flavio Hernandez is going to get harassed. If you think Flavio Hernandez is going to pay some, good luck. What's it called? RDR, my man. Who else? Kyle Bahalio, Nasruddin Imavov. What are we doing? Look at DDP is the best middleweight in the world. Not Khamzat Chimaev. 100%. 100%. You're not going to see anything like this against DDP. Flavio Hernandez versus DDP will be a good fight. RDR versus DDP will be a good fight. I think DDP smokes RDR, to be honest. But Flavio Hernandez versus DDP is probably the best fight outside of Chimaev DDP in this what's it called? In this division. But yeah, Khamzat Chimaev, most dominant fighter in UFC history. We're going to constantly keep seeing him. He wants to fight in Abu Dhabi. I don't think he will fight in October, just because as much as he wants to fight at UFC 321, there is no world where Dana White is going to keep him as a co-main. Khamzat Chimaev is the main event, and in no world is the UFC ever going to put him as anything but a main event. And also, they're not going to put him on Ankalaev and Pereira. They're also not going to demote Ankalaev and Pereira, put them as a co-main, and put a lower weight class above them. Usually the UFC sticks with these heavier weight classes, especially with champions, as the main event over. But nonetheless, on to the co-main. Aaron Pico, in my opinion, looked good. I did say he was going to wash Lerone Murphy, and he looked like he was. He looked like he was doing very well. But in the middle of the live stream, and if you think I'm lying, there were probably like 1,500 people watching me at the time I was saying this. Aaron Pico was out at distance throwing these 1-2s to Lerone Murphy, throwing them low, not necessarily looking good when he's throwing them. It was very, very, like, out of range. Looked like he was forcing it, trying to set up a takedown, set up an entry. And Lerone Murphy was shelling up very early. I mean, Pico was doing very well. Really good body shots, really good pressure. Murphy was trying to read any single time he came in, so Murphy was shelling up. But he did get hurt early. Lerone Murphy, obviously, pretty durable overall of a fighter. Really good recovery. Pico was taking him down, but we've never seen really Pico hold anybody down. Lerone Murphy did get up. Lerone Murphy did a really good job in the clinch, tightening up an overhook to make Pico uncomfortable with his underhook, and then frame off and get off of these clinches, which is a really good job by Murphy, really high level stuff. And then I see Aaron Pico throw a 1-2, very far out, and Lerone Murphy was shelling up really early as he was backed up to the cage, and I said out loud that, look, Aaron Pico can get countered very easily right here. I mean, he's shooting these out from way too far out. He's throwing these very blind shots, very blind strikes, from way too far out, way too telegraphed, and they're way too open. And Lerone Murphy, if he counters, it's wide open. Lerone Murphy, a little bit after that, tries to time a knee, was so close to timing a knee on Pico, and then we saw the beautiful spinning elbow that Lerone Murphy had, which, I mean, my God, what a freaking spinning elbow. I think it was a better knockout than Carlos Pratz's, which we'll get to in a moment. I think the timing on it was beautiful. I think the read was amazing. I think the setup was beautiful. I mean, I think Lerone Murphy literally did, and it's not a fluke. I don't think it was a fluke. I would usually call a lot of these flukes. I'm being dead serious. This is not a fluke knockout. Lerone Murphy was reading that. Lerone Murphy was covering up early, taking his shell. I think he was trying to find the timing of these Pico entries, which he was. He was trying to find the area in which Pico likes to enter with his head drop into a takedown. He did. He found the right side. He literally timed it perfectly. He got exactly where it needed to be, and that's high-level stuff. And this is a guy who deserves a title shot over Evloev. Evloev pulled out of this fight. Lerone Murphy took it on 3 weeks' notice, knocked the guy out cold in round one of the highest, most highly touted prospects in MMA history, honestly, in Aaron Pico. And I'm being dead serious when I say this. Aaron Pico did not look bad. If you were going to discredit, same thing with DDP, if you're going to discredit Khamzat Chimaev's performance by saying DDP didn't train for the grappling, I mean, you guys are out of your minds. Seriously. I mean, I can't help you at that point, because at that point, you don't even want to understand it. You're refusing to understand it at that point. Same thing with Lerone Murphy and Aaron Pico. You're refusing to understand what just happened with Lerone Murphy, what reads he just made. You are disrespecting Khamzat Chimaev and Lerone Murphy by diminishing their opponents and how well their opponents actually fought off the positions and did exactly what they were supposed to do in their fights, up until the fact that they literally couldn't do anything else. Pico actually had a lot of success against Murphy. He was winning that fight. Murphy, I said, had a really good inside elbow, timing it in on the counter, and it looked good. And Lerone Murphy they hit a pretty good elbow on what's it called? On Aaron Pico, and then we ended up seeing the spinning elbow. Just, I mean, it was picture perfect. It was picture perfect. It's such high level stuff. It was beautiful. It was beautifully timed. It was. I can't say enough about it. It really was. He beat a high level prospect. Where now Aaron Pico's been knocked out several times, cold and pretty concerning how his chin's gonna look. But we'll go over that another time when we see his next fight, see how long he takes off. But he's a 28-year-old fighter. Like, we've got a bit of time, but the chin is a concern. But at the same time, I mean, look at the strike he just got hit with. Yeah, insane by Lerone Murphy. I mean, legitimately one of the most beautiful strikes, one of the most beautiful setups, one of the most picture perfect high level breakdowns mid fight. Timing your fighter, reading him, and striking it perfectly. Landing it down. He almost had the knee. Had a beautifully timed elbow on the inside. Like, he was getting it. And he just needed that one shot, and he got it. Beautiful stuff. It was beautiful stuff from Lerone Murphy. Carlos Pratz, honestly, one of the best moments of the night for Carlos Pratz, because not only did he look unbelievably improved against Jeff Neal, Jeff Neal looked good on the inside, too. It's not like Jeff Neal looked bad. No, Pratz just looked insane. Pratz hurt him to the body. Pratz was hurting him up top. The kicks were looking beautiful. Very creative with his kicks overall. And it wasn't just spinning stuff for no reason. No, he was landing them, timing them very well, setting them up very well. And then he had the spinning elbow. Attacking, aggressive, just straight up. I mean, I was in shock at how insane that. Jeff Neal, by the way, I said he's never been knocked out in the UFC. Only been knocked out once in his career. Was against Kevin Holland outside of the UFC. And first time ever in the UFC he was going to get knocked out. I said it was going to be this fight, and he ended up getting knocked out. I didn't do that good in this card, but I didn't do that well in this card. A lot of underdogs were winning. It was a card I picked a lot of favorites on, too. Ended up finishing even on the card, which sucks. But, like, there are a lot of spots I missed out on, and we're going to talk about them. But, yeah, Carlos Pratz, right after that, by the way, points at Dana White, since he wants to talk to them. Points at Dana White, Sean Shelby, whoever it was. Told them it's his birthday tomorrow. He wants his bonus. He wants to fight on the Rio card. Dana White, I've never seen this before ever. Dana White calls the truck that's connected to the earpieces of those commentators, and the truck tells Joe Rogan that Dana White told them to tell Joe Rogan that I'm about to sneeze and I'm about to lose it and it's not coming out. There we go. Bless you. Thank you. Anyways, yeah, the truck told Joe Rogan that Dana White told them that Carlos Pratz is going to be fighting in Rio. He gave him his wishes. He's going to be fighting in Rio, and that he's going to be getting the 50K bonus. When do you ever see Dana White announcing a 50K bonus in the middle of the octagon? Never. Never. High-level stuff from Carlos Pratz. It's insanely entertaining, beautiful performance, unbelievable stuff from him. And, mind you, he called out Leon Edwards as well. That is a beautiful call-out because, one, you're making Leon Edwards defend his position, and two, Leon Edwards is going to get knocked out. I would love to see it. I would love to see Carlos Pratz knock him out. It would be a beautiful sight to see. Moving on. Jerry Cannonier versus MVP. MVP is one of the most wasted talents in MMA history, and I'm not saying that on the basis of, oh, it shouldn't be him that has these. No. He should have came to the UFC a lot earlier, because could you imagine MVP if he fought in middleweight against Robert Whittaker, against Israel Adesanya, against Michael Bisping? What he could have done? He could have been champion. He could have been a world champion. At welterweight with Tyron Woodley, he could have been a world champion. This is a guy who was a headache of a style to compete against. In his prime, it would have been more insane. He still looks insane right now. He still looks unbelievable. The problem with him is sometimes he puts himself in some pretty bad positions, like he did in round 3, where he overextended a little bit. Cannonier got under, took him down, fell on him, and Cannonier was very heavy on top. MVP not the greatest get-up game when a guy is very top-heavy, and Cannonier is very top-heavy, and it wasn't the middle of the octagon. It wasn't the easiest thing for MVP. MVP did very well, honestly, getting up in round 2. I thought he clearly won rounds 1 and 2. Beautiful performance overall. I think he can make some noise in middleweight and welterweight, but like there's a clear top level that MVP cannot compete against. He won't beat Fluffy. The RDR fight's a little weird, honestly. Honestly, that RDR fight's actually sick, to be honest. He would not beat Chimaev. He would not beat DDP. At welterweight, like Michael Morales is an interesting one. I think this version of Michael Morales, I think MVP could beat. Pratz as well would be a very interesting one. Ian Gary, I think MVP can beat. I think MVP had Ian Gary beat, but he blew a position. He literally threw away a position and lost it. Sean Brady, I think, beats him. Good fight, though, actually. That's a pretty good fight. But, like, Shafkat, I think, beats him. JDM, really good fight. Like, he can compete against a lot of these top guys. There are some clear gaps against a lot of these, especially the middleweight grapplers. I mean, good luck. But unbelievable talent. Wish he was younger coming into UFC. I mean, he really could have made noise in some of these weaker eras of middleweight and even welterweight. Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. Honestly, Asakura didn't look horrible early on. It wasn't anything crazy. I expected a little bit more from him, honestly, early. Elliott did very well fighting this fight. I did think he lost the first round. I think he was losing the second round, too. But it wasn't really much from Asakura to separate too much. And then just one... It was such a weird takedown, such a random exchange, where Asakura and Elliott went at it. And you end up having this thing where Asakura is now on bottom against... I'm blanking here. Against Tim Elliott. And Elliott just sinks in this top guillotine, gets in mount, and all of a sudden it's just Asakura is in this nightmare position, and he taps. He has no jiu-jitsu. He has no grappling understanding, and I thought he was a little bit better overall defensively. He looked better, honestly. When you look at the Pantoja fight in the first round, he actually looked a lot better than I expected. And I didn't think he was going to be immediately submissive in this grappling exchange against Tim Elliott. And Elliott, honestly, really good finish, really good guillotine. I mean, he's still fighting off a lot of guys towards the top, and I thought Kai Asakura was one of the better fighters at flyweight. Probably has a lot to learn. I mean, how old is Kai Asakura? Isn't he like 31? I could be completely wrong, but I think he's 31 years old, right? Yeah, he's 31 years old. I mean, he's still got a bit of time to improve. Not going to be improving too much. Wonder who they're going to put him against. I mean, he's not going to be fighting in the top 15. We have a couple fighters in the flyweight division that are honestly a good opportunity for him to fight, so that could be interesting. Moving on. Susukaya versus Nolan was an instant classic, honestly. This is one of the best. I think his best fight card of the year. I think it was better than 314. I think it was better than 317. Just the moments, the fights, bangers. It was just insane. Susukaya fight was sick. Susukaya, we all thought was going to knock Eric Nolan out in the first round. He was not. He was actually losing basically every single striking exchange. He did have some pretty damaging leg kicks overall that started setting up the victory for him. But early on, Eric Nolan was landing some big shots up top. Nolan was hurting him to the body. Hurting him to the body bad as well, by the way. Nolan looked good, by the way. Eric Nolan, by the way, 3 days notice against Susukaya. Put on a show. I mean, dude, we all, honestly, after the first round, I think a lot of people thought he was going to finish him. He almost had him out at the end of the first round. But the problem is, Bell rang. Chimaev got back through, started grappling a little bit too, showed his well-roundedness, and he finished him. He finished Eric Nolan. The leg kick set it up, started hurting Eric Nolan badly to the legs, and he ended up getting the grappling going, got the submission. I mean, this is a 24-year-old that fought 4 days ago, took a fight on 3 days' notice, asked for it, still fought on the card, was the featured prelim on this card after some fights fell through, got put on a big spot. Obviously, no tape on his fighter, no camp. Same thing with Eric Nolan. But the guy fought 4 days ago. He's an undefeated 24-year-old fighter right now with another finish added to his record against a guy who actually looked pretty good. I think Eric Nolan deserves to be in the UFC. I think he's earned a spot. But yeah, I think it was insane. Chimaev is legit. Eric Nolan is actually pretty good, and I want to see Chimaev improve on a full camp against a fighter in the UFC, and I think he's going to look good overall. Guy, again, 24 years old. Keep that in mind. 2 fights in 4 days. This guy is legit. The adversity he faced, fighting through it, getting hurt badly to the body and up top, clipped up top bad, losing in a position where he's usually the better striker. He ends up getting clipped big. He uses his grappling. He starts showing how good of a grappler he is, and they ends up submitting him. Beautiful leg kicks, great adjustments on the feet. I mean, what more do you want a prospect? A 24-year-old fighting twice in 4 days, winning twice in 4 days, 2 finishes twice in 4 days. Give him his flowers. Let's hopefully he doesn't return soon. Like, give him I want to see him like at least 3-4 months at the very minimum. That's a good turnaround. It's a really quick turnaround. Let him get a full camp. Let him get a full camp against somebody in the UFC. Gerald Mearshart against Mikhail Jacek. He's too slow. Mearshart's too slow. He's too old. Although Jacek also defending positions very well on the ground. Really good sprawl. Keeping his legs sprawled back, making sure that Mearshart can't chain after the sprawl. Like, he's improved a lot. I think the Fighting Nerds camp has been very good for him. And beautiful left hand. He's always been the better boxer than Mearshart. It was always going to be expected that he's going to knock him out if he doesn't get taken down, submitted, and extended. And Oleg Jacek literally clipped him with the left hand. Beautiful setup. Great knockout. Jessica Andrade versus Lupi Godinez. I thought Andrade won. It was a really close fight, though. I thought it was very clear Andrade round 1, obviously. Lupi Godinez round 2, for sure. Round 3 was competitive. Very close. Very good round. I did think Andrade won that. I feel like Andrade deserved that win. I feel like Andrade earned it. I feel like Andrade landed the better shots. Landed the better volume overall in round 3. It was a very competitive fight. And that's a really, really good fight, by the way. Sick fight. Andrade's walking her down the whole fight. Lupi Godinez honestly looking like a way better striker than she's ever looked. She's improved tremendously in the striking. The grappling is pretty decent overall. But again, Andrade is not as easy to grapple at 115 as she is at 125. Those girls at 125 a lot bigger than Andrade. Andrade has a pretty good size advantage and strength advantage against a lot of these women at 115, which she showed. She got up against Godinez a good amount. She made sure the takedowns were pretty difficult for her to get and defended a lot of them. Big shots. I think Andrade won that fight. But it was a really good fight. I'm not going to be too mad at it. It's not like round 3 was a blowout. Like, it was a very close round. I still think Andrade won that fight, though. It was a really good fight. Alexander Hernandez versus Chase Hooper. I did not expect it to be a knockout. I knew Alexander Hernandez had an advantage on the feet. I know Chase Hooper is not that good on the feet whatsoever. I know he's not durable whatsoever. I thought the grappling positions would have been a little bit more expedited. I thought that Alexander Hernandez would have put himself in much worse positions earlier on. I was wrong. I did know he was better on the feet. I did not know it was going to be a knockout. That was a beautiful pull counter right. That was a beautifully timed counter right hook, counter right straight by Alexander Hernandez down the pipe, and I loved it. This is a guy who's honestly, he's been struggling a little bit in his career, but he's been doing some good stuff at 155 against some decent level competition. He's now on a 3-fight win streak, by the way. Austin Hubbard, Kurt Hollabaugh, and Chase Hooper. But like those fights at featherweight, it cooked him. He lost 4 of his last 5 fighting. He fought Renato Moicano at lightweight, then dropped down to featherweight, lost to Billy Quarantillo, then beat Jim Miller at lightweight, then went back down to featherweight to fight against Bill Aljo, Damon Jackson, lost both those fights. He's better at lightweight than he is at featherweight. I think the size disadvantage at lightweight sucks for him, but at the same time, he's a good gatekeeper for a lot of these fighters. He's a really good fighter in the middle of the division. That obviously, like you said, you just saw him knock out Chase Hooper. Good performance from Hernandez. I thought it was a beautifully timed shot. Barbosa versus Drakkar Klose was honestly the only, I'd say, boring fight on this card. It wasn't good. A lot of clinching. Barbosa didn't look that good, honestly. Really close fight. The decision, I can understand Drakkar Klose getting that decision for sure. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, not really as controversial as the Andrade versus Godinez one, but not really much to talk about that fight. Klose got the win. Barbosa didn't look that great, to be honest. He looked slow. He looked old. Leg kicks were good. Nothing really up top that great. Carini Silva versus Deone Barbosa, I think, was a horrible, horrible commentary showcasing because these guys thought Deone Barbosa for sure won. I don't understand what they were watching. What happened to damage? Deone Barbosa didn't do any damage in round 2 and 3 at all. Literally did nothing in round 2 and 3. She had some good top position in rounds 2 and 3. Did nothing with it. I thought Carini Silva clearly won round 2 and 3. Did much more damage overall, even when Deone Barbosa was on top. 1, she almost got finished several times in those rounds. And 2, what do you want? What more do you want from a fighter who's on bottom, elbowing the person repeatedly, constantly landing strikes, and the fighter on top is literally not doing anything. Deonna Barbosa was not doing anything on top in rounds 2 and 3. Karina Silva was literally doing everything she could to point her way through being on bottom position. Deonna Barbosa was holding top position, was doing very well to keep it, doing very well to frame, keeping Karina Silva in the bottom position. What did Silva do? Kept her in her guard. She threw up a triangle, and she kept throwing these elbows, really good shots, and Barbosa's face was honestly cooked. I thought Karina Silva very obviously won that fight. And on to the last one, Joseph Morales, back into the UFC, now the Ultimate Fighter winner, really good overall showcasing from him. Terminator style against Alibi Idris, the second biggest favorite on this card, got smoked. I mean, he literally got embarrassed. Joseph Morales walked him down. He pressured him. Honestly, in my opinion, was doing better on the feet than Alibi Idris was. And he grappled him. He out-grappled him. He's a much better grappler. And this is a guy who, what is he? What's Morales? 30 years old now? 30 years old, back in the UFC. And he looks better than he's ever looked. I think this guy can definitely do something in the UFC. However, couple positions he was kind of blowing. I feel like a lot of higher level guys in flyweight could definitely defend those. And also on the feet, he is open a lot. Although I love the Terminator style. Again, this pressure style fighting with grappling or with good boxing, one or the other, especially if you have both, it's unbelievable. As long as you can time it right. If you rush a little bit too much and your chin's a little sus and you don't put yourself in good positions and you don't know how to enter, instead of being Khamzat Chimaev, instead of being Merab, instead of being all these other guys, you're in Pico. You get spinning elbow, you get timed, you get knocked out by high-level guys. So anyways, really good fight. One of the best fight cards I've ever watched, like quite literally ever as a fan, watching for like 7.5 years. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know. For the love of God, if you thought the main event was boring, if you do not understand these grappling positions, like, okay, that's your thing, fine, you're wrong. Simple as that. It's actually embarrassing. The MMA fans that have watched the sport for so long and what they're saying, I've never seen the disrespect on Chimaev, the disrespect on DDP, the disrespect on Pico, the disrespect on Murphy as I'm seeing right now. It's ridiculous. This main event was unbelievable. The card is unbelievable. Not the best outro. I really suck in my outros. I don't know what's going on with these. But yeah, I had to record this video. It's 3:30 in the morning right now, and I'm making sure I get this out because it was too good of a card for me not to put this out right now. Thank you guys all for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and follow my TikTok where you'll get TikTok content every single day for MMA and UFC. And I will see you guys tomorrow with another YouTube video, probably matchmaking or something like that. I don't know what I'll do. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.